They called it Unbreakable. 50 centimeters of reinforced concrete, steel bars woven through the matrix, a vault wall in the heart of London's Diamond District that had never been breached. Until Easter weekend 2015, when a gang of pensioners walked in with a 14.4 kilogram industrial drill and turned that wall into dust. Not with lasers, not with cutting-edge tech. With a tool you can rent from any construction supplier for £3,500, the Hilti DD 350, a diamond-tipped beast built to bore through manholes and utility tunnels, and it ate through 20 inches of what was supposed to be impenetrable like it was cutting through butter. How does a crude drill bit defeat vault-grade concrete? What makes a 58-year-old alarm expert the only man who can disable a grade 3 security system? Why did the police ignore the alarm at 12:21 in the morning on Good Friday, when the vault was actively being drilled? The Hatton garden heist wasn't high-tech. It was high planning. 3 years of meetings in a North London pub, reconnaissance trips in blue coveralls, YouTube research on diamond core drilling techniques, and one specialist who could walk through doors that shouldn't open. This is how pensioners with a combined age of 442 pulled off the largest burglary in English legal history. 14 million pounds in jewels and cash, 73 deposit boxes ransacked, and a hole 10 inches high by 18 inches wide that changed everything about vault security in Britain. If you value documented heist and crime history like this, subscribe. It's the best way to support our work. Also comment from which city you're hearing this from. Also, this script is researched and factual, using sources from the Metropolitan Police Flying Squad investigation reports documented in court proceedings at Woolwich Crown Court during the 2015 to 2019 trials, including prosecution evidence presented by Philip Evans, QC, and forensic analysis published in Detection Technology Security Industry, white papers analyzing the breach mechanics and response failures. Now back to the information. Diamond traders kept stones between deals. Some kept cash. Some kept things they didn't want tax authorities or ex-wives finding. The vault sat underground, concrete walls all around. The main door was alarmed with time delays. Drill through the wall and you bypass all of that. But the wall was 50 centimeters thick, 20 inches of reinforced concrete with rebar throughout, built to withstand anything short of explosives. The building itself was communal, multiple businesses sharing one entrance, a jewelry workshop on the 3rd floor, offices on the 2nd. Anyone with a key and a 4-digit code could enter. That was weakness number 1. Nobody suspected that elderly men nursing pints were plotting the biggest burglary in English history. Brian Reeder was 76, the oldest. Career criminal since 1950 when he robbed 5 shops in East London at age 11. Criminal discharge at 11 years old for stealing tins of fruit by means of store breaking. As a child, he worked as a butcher's boy, left school at 16, joined British Rail as a fireman. But crime paid better. He'd laundered gold from the Brinks Matt heist in 1983. 26 million pounds worth of bullion stolen near Heathrow. 3 tons of gold bars. Reeder moved it through less ethical traders in Hatton Garden. He knew the district, knew the players, knew which dealers would take gold with questions unasked. Reeder had connections to the Clerkenwell crime syndicate, Tommy Adams himself. Spotted with him in Hatton Garden in 1985, discussing fencing those Brinks Matt ingots. Reeder brought the connections, the network, the knowledge of who could move what. Terry Perkins was 67. He'd done the Security Express robbery in 1983, Easter weekend that year too. 6 million pounds in cash from a London depot, 15 masked men, pistols, shotguns, armed raid. Perkins got a 22-year sentence, but absconded from open prison in 1995. Vanished completely. Wasn't recaptured until 2012, 17 years on the run. During that time, he worked with Reeder on 4 other robberies, never caught for those. When arrested in 2012, he was forced to complete his Security Express sentence before Hatton Garden trial even started. Perkins brought the experience, the cold nerve, the willingness to push through equipment failures. Danny Jones was 61, multiple jewelry robbery convictions going back to 1982, nearly 100,000 pounds worth in one job alone. Knew how to case a target, how to identify weak points. Jones brought the research, the technical preparation that made everything possible. He spent hours on YouTube watching Hilti DD 350 demonstrations, learning bore angles, understanding water cooling systems, calculating drill times through different concrete densities. He knew the drill required a stand, knew you needed the DD HD30 mount for stability, knew the high-frequency motor operated at 1000 Hz, knew it had iron boost function for extra torque when hitting rebar, knew the vibration value for drilling wet concrete was 2.5 meters per second squared. He researched rental costs, purchase prices, availability. Jones found that buying new was around $8,000 for the complete system. Renting was £3,500 for the weekend. Buying used could be £4,000 to £5,000 if you found the right dealer. He documented everything, made notes, drew diagrams, calculated that 50 centimeters of reinforced concrete with standard rebar spacing would take Approximately 4 hours of continuous drilling using 3 separate boreholes with overlapping circles. Kenny Collins was 74, the driver, the lookout, the one his co-conspirators called Wombat Thick. But Collins was instrumental despite the mockery. He made reconnaissance trips to Hatton Garden dressed as a building worker. High visibility vest, hard hat, clipboard, tools. Nobody questions a builder. He studied the layout, counted the floors, noted the communal entrance, saw that multiple businesses shared one door, timed security guard patrols. There weren't many, mapped camera positions. Streets had coverage, but the alley beside 88 to 90 Hatton Garden had blind spots. Collins brought the wheels, a white Mercedes E200 with black roof and black alloy wheels, distinctive enough that it would eventually doom them. But in the moment, it was just reliable transport. Space for equipment, for bin bags, for carrying millions in stolen goods across London without anyone looking twice at an old man in a nice car. Middle-class background, university education, studied electronics and physics at Nottingham University, graduated with real knowledge, real skills, not street crime education, academic understanding of electrical systems, circuit design, telephony infrastructure, alarm architectures. After graduation, Seed made a choice. He entered the drug trade, LSD, cannabis, supplied friends, got caught. Served 21 months in prison in the early 1980s. Released around 1983, just when the National DNA Database was being discussed, but 13 years before it actually launched in 1996. So Seed's DNA wasn't in the system. His fingerprints were, from that conviction, but DNA would have made identification easier. He moved into a one-bedroom Islington council flat on Liverpool Road after release. £13 a week rent in the 1980s, £105 monthly by 2015. Seed paid no taxes, claimed no benefits, worked in the black economy, started fixing televisions, then video recorders, then computers. As technology evolved, Seed evolved with it, learned new systems, new security measures, new ways to defeat them. In the mid-1990s, he pivoted to jewelry work. That's when he met Brian Reeder in a Hatton Garden cafe. They recognized something in each other. Reeder saw technical knowledge. Seed saw opportunity. Reeder introduced him to Collins and Jones. Seed claimed he didn't know Perkins. Maybe true, maybe not, but he knew enough of them, worked with them. Seed was the alarm specialist, the electronics expert, the only one with the technical knowledge to defeat the Grade 3 intruder alarm system protecting the vault. Grade 3 means professional installation, certified monitoring, multiple sensor types, door contacts, vibration sensors, motion detectors, glass break sensors, all connected to a central panel linked to monitoring station via phone lines and GPRS backup. If phone cuts, the GPRS sends the signal. Seed understood this architecture, knew how to disable components without triggering tamper alerts, knew which sensors could be bypassed, which had to be dealt with carefully. He posed as a BT engineer weeks before the heist, gained access to the building, tampered with phone lines, studied the alarm panel locations, took photos, made notes. By the time April came, Seed knew that building better than the security company that installed the system. He acquired a 2G mobile phone jammer, small device, fits in a pocket, blocks mobile signals within a radius. The jammer would prevent GPRS backup from sending alerts after phone lines were cut. 2-layer defense, phone lines severed, GPRS jammed. Alarm becomes silent, sends signals to nowhere. Seed also had keys. How he got them remains officially unclear. Prosecution suggested he copied keys during reconnaissance, maybe from a compromised employee, maybe through forced entry to the director's home. In 2013, Manish Bhavishi, a director of Hatton Garden Safe Deposit, had his North London home hit by aggravated burglary. Police investigated, never solved it. Coincidence? Unlikely. The gang almost certainly got keys during that raid, got alarm codes, got internal knowledge. Without Seed, the heist doesn't happen. The drill means nothing if alarms bring police in 5 minutes. With Seed, it becomes inevitable, because he makes the building deaf, blind, silent to the outside world, and gives the gang all the time they need to drill through 20 inches of reinforced concrete. Perfect window. Seed sourced a key to the building's heavy wooden doors. How he got it remains unclear. Prosecution suggested he posed as a BT engineer weeks earlier to gain access and tamper with phone lines. He also acquired a 2G mobile phone jammer. Small device, blocks alarm signals. Seed studied the building's alarm architecture, knew which sensors triggered which responses, knew the system terminated at Southern Monitoring Alarm Company, knew the alarm had suffered multiple false activations over the previous year. That history meant police response was downgraded. Weakness number 2. Designed to bore holes 52mm to 500mm in diameter through reinforced concrete. Construction crews use it for plumbing penetrations. Utility workers drill manholes with it. The thieves would use it to core through vault concrete. The drill operates at speeds ranging from 286 RPM to 667 RPM depending on gear. 9 gear settings, more torque at lower speeds for heavy concrete. The diamond coating on the drill bit isn't decorative. Synthetic industrial diamonds bonded to the cutting edge. Diamonds cut through rock, through steel, through rebar, through anything. The drill cost around £3,500. Available from any Hilti dealer. No questions asked if you have cash. The plan was to drill through the wall, then use the ram to topple the metal cabinets housing the deposit boxes on the other side. Those cabinets were bolted to the ceiling and floor. The ram would provide enough force to rip them free. At least that was the theory. The ram cost extra. Jones purchased it under the name V. Jones, a reference to footballer turned actor Vinnie Jones, because even pensioner criminals have a sense of humor. Thursday, April 2nd, 2015. 9:19 p.m., staff at Hatton Garden Safe Deposit locked up for the long weekend. An employee punched in the alarm code, activated the system, left through the front doors. 4 minutes later, at 9:23 p.m., CCTV captured a figure in the building. Red hair, black bag. The Daily Mirror would later nickname him Mr. Ginger. It was Seed. He'd already entered using his key. Moved to the fire escape, opened it from inside. At 9:27 p.m., a white Ford Transit van appeared on street cameras. Pulled up to the alley beside 88 to 90 Hatton Garden. Men dragged wheelie bins down the alley. The van drove away, leaving them behind. Collins waited in his Mercedes down the street. Gas label on the back, hard hat, natty clothing underneath. 1 minute later, Mr. Strong showed up. Builder's hat, carrying steel supports. Those supports would stabilize the drill rig. At 9:36 p.m., Mr. Strong and another thief, nicknamed Mr. Montana for his hooded sweatshirt logo rolled in more wheelie bins. One likely contained the 35-kilogram Hilti drill with its stand. Another held the hydraulic ram. More bins for debris removal, tools, water supply, everything needed to spend the next several hours undetected. The gang forced open metal shutters leading to the vault area. That triggered an alarm, an unconfirmed alarm indication at 12:18 a.m. on Friday, April 3rd. 3 minutes later, at 12:21 a.m., it became a confirmed alarm indication. The system sent an automatic SMS alert to Southern Monitoring Alarm Company. The monitoring company called the Metropolitan Police Central Communications Command. The call was recorded, transferred to the CAD computer aided dispatch system. A grade was applied. That grade meant no police response was deemed required. Why? Because Hatton Garden Safe Deposit had triggered so many false alarms over the previous year that the unique reference number in the system was flagged for automatic downgrade. The monitoring company also called a director of the vault company, Manish Bavishi. No answer. He was on holiday in Sudan. A security guard was dispatched to the building. He arrived, looked through doors and windows from outside, saw nothing, recorded it as a false alarm. When later asked why he didn't enter the building, he reportedly said he doesn't get paid enough. The guard left. The drilling continued. The DD HD30 stand weighs 21.4 kilograms alone. The stand bolts to the surface if you're drilling floors or ceilings. For walls, it uses vacuum mount technology, powerful suction cups, hold against vertical surfaces, can support the drill motor plus the torque generated during operation. You attach the drill motor to the stand, 14.4 kilograms of high-frequency engineering, connect water cooling lines. This is critical. The drill operates at high RPM. The diamond bit friction generates enormous heat. Without water, the bit burns out in minutes. The concrete heats. Cracks wrong. The cut becomes ragged. Water suppresses dust, too. Concrete dust is hazardous. Silica particles, lung damage. Water turns dust into slurry, easier to manage. Keeps visibility clear, allows the operator to see the cut. The gang brought jerry cans. Multiple gallons of water, a hose, a pump system. They set up a cooling loop. Water flows to the bit, cools the cut, returns to collection, gets pumped back. Continuous cycle. They aimed at the vault wall approximately 3 feet from the floor. Not head height where you'd expect. Low, where the wall might be weaker, where rebar spacing might be wider. Foundation level rebar is often spaced at different intervals than mid-wall reinforcement. Jones had studied this, researched concrete wall construction standards, knew that lower sections sometimes have less steel. Not always, but sometimes. Worth the gamble. The drill bit diameter they chose was likely between 250 millimeters and 400 millimeters, 10 to 16 inches, large diameter. You need large to create a passage big enough for a human body. Small holes are useless. A man needs minimum 40 centimeters width to squeeze through, especially older men, less flexible. The plan was 3 holes, 3 separate bore points, each 10 to 16 inches diameter, positioned so the circles overlap. When all 3 cores are removed, you get an oval opening, 45 centimeters by 25 centimeters, 18 inches wide, 10 inches high, tight but passable. They started drilling. The noise would have been immense. High-frequency whine from the 1,000 hertz motor, grinding vibration as diamond teeth bit into concrete aggregate, water spray hissing, the sound of concrete dust becoming slurry, wet grinding. The drill bore in. Slowly, reinforced concrete doesn't give up easy. The aggregate is crushed stone mixed with cement, hard, dense. The rebar fights back. Every time the bit hits steel, it slows. The drill senses resistance. The electronic control system responds, pushes more current to the motor, increases torque. The iron boost function kicks in, designed specifically for this. For when diamond meets steel, the bit forces through, grinds the rebar away, keeps boring. Each hole took over an hour, possibly closer to 90 minutes. Concrete thickness was 50 centimeters, 20 inches. The bit had to penetrate the full depth. Remove a complete core, then move to the next position. Reposition the stand, realign the drill, start again. The gang worked in shifts, one operating the drill, monitoring the cut, adjusting water flow, watching for problems, others clearing debris. The concrete cores had to go somewhere. Each core weighed significant mass. Concrete density is roughly 2.4 tons per cubic meter. A core 10 inches diameter by 20 inches deep weighs approximately 25 kilograms. 3 cores equals 75 kilograms of concrete that had to be moved, lifted, transported. The gang used wheelie bins, lined them with plastic probably, loaded the concrete cores, added the slurry, the watery concrete mix, pushed the bins to the lift shaft. This required coordination, strength. These were men in their 60s and 70s, not prime physical condition, but crime provides motivation. Hauling them up the lift shaft was harder. The lift was disabled, jammed on the second floor. They had to climb, use ropes maybe, pulleys, something to raise 75 kilograms of dead weight 2 floors vertical. Then wheel the bins out to vehicles, dump them somewhere, return for more. The estimate is over 4 hours of constant drilling to create 3 holes. 4 to 5 hours more realistic when you include repositioning, water refills, debris removal, rest breaks. Even criminals need to catch their breath. By Friday morning, they'd breached the wall, punched through to the other side, 3 overlapping circles of empty space. But there was a problem. The metal cabinets housing the safe deposit boxes were directly behind the hole, not just close, directly, bolted to the ceiling, heavy bolts, expansion anchors, bolted to the floor. Same, heavy gauge steel cabinets. These weren't decorative furniture. These were security cabinets, built to resist tampering. The cabinets blocked access, completely. You couldn't squeeze between the wall and the cabinet, no gap. The cabinet face was right there, metal, locked, immovable. That's where the hydraulic ram came in, 10-ton capacity ram. Hydraulic pressure generates enormous force. Apply the ram to the cabinet, pump the handle. Pressure builds, force transfers. The cabinet has to move, except the ram didn't work. Faulty equipment. Maybe a seal failed. Maybe the hydraulic fluid leaked. Maybe the pump mechanism jammed. Whatever the cause, the ram was useless. The gang spent almost 10 hours inside the building that first night. 9 p.m., Thursday to 7 a.m., Friday roughly, drilling. Trying to force the cabinets with the broken ram, using crowbars, angle grinders. Nothing worked. The cabinets wouldn't budge. The bolts held. By dawn on Friday, April 3rd, they had to abort. Too much time elapsed, risk increasing, light coming. People would return to buildings, workers arriving, delivery trucks. The window was closing. They climbed back up the lift shaft, exhausting climb, carrying tools, equipment, the broken ram. Left through the fire escape. Seed locked it behind them, made everything look normal. They vanished into London. Brian Reeder quit. At 76, he'd had enough. The equipment failure, the close call with the alarm, the stress. He told the others he was done. Perkins was furious. Would later call Reeder an old ponce. Said Reeder had fucked every job they'd done together over 12 years. But Reeder walked, took a bus, went home. Left the gang one man short. This time they had working equipment. They used the ram. Applied force to the metal cabinets. The cabinets resisted. More force. The bolts began to give. Ceiling mounts ripped free. Floor bolts held longer, but eventually sheared. The cabinets toppled. The hole was now accessible, 45 centimeters wide. Seed and one other man squeezed through. They were inside the vault. The gang brought angle grinders, crowbars, cutting torches. They forced open box after box. Jewelry spilled out. Gold coins, cash bricks, diamonds, watches, precious stones. Some boxes held family heirlooms, Victorian brooches, pearls from great-grandmother's weddings, engagement rings that had seen 3 generations. Others held business inventory, uncut diamonds, gold bars, bearer bonds, and some held things people didn't want found, undeclared assets, cash from unnamed sources. The gang filled black bin bags, stuffed wheelie bins. They worked through Friday night, all day Saturday, into Saturday evening. Terry Perkins turned 67 on Saturday, April 4th. His birthday present was access to millions in untraceable wealth. They finally left Saturday night, climbed out the same way. Up the lift shaft, through the fire escape, loaded bins into vehicles. Collins drove. The white Mercedes was captured on CCTV multiple times. The distinctive black roof, the alloy wheels. Police would later track it through London's congestion charge database. The gang divided the haul. Seed took his share to his Islington flat 2 miles from Hatton Garden, began sorting, melting gold, breaking up jewelry, removing stones from settings, erasing provenance, making everything untraceable. Hatton Garden safe deposit reopened after the holiday. Staff discovered the break-in, vault door untouched, alarm system disabled, metal shutters forced, a hole in the concrete wall, debris everywhere, 73 boxes violated, the floor covered in dust, discarded deposit boxes, power tools left behind, the Hilti drill, angle grinders, crowbars. The scene was chaos. Specialist unit for armed robbery and heists. Detective Chief Inspector Paul Johnson led the investigation. They recovered 400 pieces of evidence, DNA samples, fingerprints, thousands of hours of CCTV footage from 150 cameras in the area. They found the white Mercedes on multiple recordings, ran the plate, traced it to Kenny Collins in Islington. Collins became suspect number 1. They planted listening devices in Collins' car. In Terry Perkins' car, officers listened to the gang discuss the heist, recorded them bragging. Perkins demonstrated how he used the drill, described the sound, the hissing pump, the bang of the hydraulic ram. Jones complained about the headache from the noise. They argued about Brian Reeder abandoning them, called him names, complained about Collins falling asleep on lookout duty. The recordings were confessions. Reeder, Perkins, Jones, and Collins pleaded guilty in September 2015. March 2016, sentencing at Woolwich Crown Court. Collins got 7 years. Jones got 7 years. Perkins got 7 years. Reeder got 6.5 years. His lawyer argued poor health, stroke, deaf, half-blind, at death's door. The judge showed limited mercy. Carl Wood got 6 years. William Lincoln got 7 years. Hugh Doyle received a suspended sentence. But Basil remained free. Michael Seed had vanished. Nothing suspicious. He worked in the black economy. No taxes, no benefits, no registered business. He met with Kenny Collins once in the weeks after the heist. Police photographed them together, but didn't know who Seed was at the time. Surveillance teams nicknamed the unidentified man Basil. The ginger wig he wore during the heist supposedly inspired the name, like Basil Fawlty, or Basil Brush, or just a random nickname that stuck. Police knew Basil existed. CCTV showed him clearly. Ginger wig, face mask, hat, black bin bag over his shoulder leaving the scene. They had recordings of the gang discussing him, saying he baffled them with technical talk, noting his frugal lifestyle, recognizing his expertise with alarms. They knew his share was equivalent to the others, 13.9 million pounds, but they didn't know his name. November 2015. Police identified Seed through the Collins photograph, but they waited, watched, built a case, gathered evidence, tracked his movements. Seed traveled abroad 3 times, Portugal possibly, carried cash, no electronic trail. He continued his jewelry work, melting gold in his bedroom, a workbench covered in tools, crucibles, measuring instruments, scales. He stored stolen items in Tupperware boxes, self-seal bags. 933 pieces of jewelry, gold ingots, gems, valued at £143,000. Just a fraction of his total take. The rest hidden, spent, converted, gone. The gems, they found electronics, alarm panels, a mobile jammer, tools for defeating security systems. They found 150 pages of handwritten notes, phone numbers, addresses, calculations, electronic diagrams, translations of Portuguese words suggesting he was learning the language. They found his library, 280 magazines, books on electronics, telephony, surveillance, jewelry, a book about listening devices, an article about GCHQ eavesdropping, a book titled How to Build a Gas-Fired Crucible, a telecommunications dictionary stamped with BT logo. They found micro SD cards wrapped in tinfoil, encrypted, family photos on 1 level of encryption, 2nd level Unbreakable. They found his search history, price of UK gold queries, timing matched the heist planning. They arrested him, charged him, conspiracy to commit burglary, conspiracy to convert criminal property, match confirmed. The electronics equipment, consistent with alarm defeating. The Collins photograph proves association. The surveillance audio, gang members describing someone matching Seed perfectly. But the crucial evidence was his walk. A forensic podiatrist named Gordon Burrow analyzed CCTV footage, compared Basil's gait to Seed's movement in covert surveillance. Burrow held a doctorate in forensic podiatry analysis. He testified that Seed walked like Charlie Chaplin. An unusual limp, distinctive. The comparison between masked Basil and unmasked Seed showed strong support for identification. Same gait, same posture, same movement pattern. Judge Christopher Kinch, QC, sentenced him 10 years for Hatton Garden, 8 years for handling proceeds. Concurrent. Total 10 years. Your role was central. You were at the heart of the core activities. Without your technical knowledge, this doesn't happen. Seed became the 10th person convicted. Flying Squad Detective Chief Inspector Mark Bradford closed the case. The conviction of Seed brings to a close one of the longest investigations in Flying Squad history. Complex, meticulous, Seed was responsible for accessing the premises, disabling the security systems, the only outstanding suspect, now convicted alongside co-defendants. Confiscation orders issued. Seed ordered to pay £5.997 million within 3 months, or face an additional 7 years. He paid £2,381. Brian Reeder and Kenny Collins ordered to pay over $6.5 million between them, paid minimal amounts. Released from prison, still owe millions. Terry Perkins never paid. Died in Belmarsh Prison February 2018. Heart problems. Diabetes, age 69. Danny Jones got 7 additional years for failing to pay his confiscation order. Carl Wood the same. The money vanished into the criminal underworld. Melted gold, sold stones, cash and foreign accounts, buried, spent, gone. 45 centimeters wide, 10 inches high. Drilled by a Hilti DD 350. The vault was relocated at the museum's Smithfield Market site. It cost £100,000 to move. Reassembled to appear exactly as the gang left it. Dust, debris, violated boxes, the whole preserved, a section of the concrete wall cut out. Structural concerns prevented removing it all, but enough to show the breach. To demonstrate what a 14.4 kilogram drill can do, the museum opened the exhibit Pastime Gallery, Physical Evidence of London Crime History, not glamorizing, documenting. This happened. Here's the proof. Too many false alarms causing police downgrade. No procedures for holiday monitoring. Communal building access with minimal verification. Lift shaft unprotected. Vault wall was concrete, but nothing detected drilling for 4 hours straight. The alarm triggered, but nobody came. Southern Monitoring called police, but the grade applied meant no response. The security guard looked but didn't enter. Every layer failed. Safe deposit facilities across UK upgraded after this. Advanced CCTV with remote monitoring, biometric access controls, motion detectors, vibration sensors like a vibraphone embedded in vault walls, half the size of a marker pen, hidden in concrete, monitoring constantly for drill vibrations, hammer impacts, cutting torches, anything indicating breach attempt, alert sent instantly, no false alarm database to downgrade response, just immediate notification. The industry changed because pensioners with a rented drill proved the old systems were worthless. The fact that concrete was a vault wall is irrelevant to the machine. It cut, it cored, it breached. 14.4 kilograms of German engineering defeated 50 centimeters of British security infrastructure. Not because the drill was sophisticated, because the planning was. 3 years of Friday meetings, reconnaissance, research, equipment sourcing. The gang knew the building layout, the alarm response protocols. The police downgrade history. They knew the drill specifications, water cooling requirements, bore times for reinforced concrete. They knew Easter weekend timing, 4 days uninterrupted. They knew everything except that their Mercedes would be on camera, that police would bug their cars, that Seed's walk would identify him 3 years later, where they celebrated afterward, where police bugs recorded them confessing. The pub didn't know it was hosting criminal masterminds every Friday, just saw elderly men drinking, talking, planning the largest burglary in English legal history over pints. 88 to 90. Hatton Garden still stands, different owner now. The Hatton Garden Safe Deposit Company went bankrupt months after the heist. Couldn't recover. Reputation destroyed. Clients fled. The building houses other businesses. The basement vault is gone. Cut out. Shipped to Museum of London. What remains is just concrete and memory. You don't need lasers to defeat concrete. You need torque. You need diamond. You need patience. You need 4 hours in an empty building with an alarm system nobody responds to. The sophistication wasn't the tool. It was knowing which tool to use, where to aim it, when to deploy it, and who could get you inside to begin with. It doesn't exist on paper. Brian Reeder died September 2023, 84 years old, never paid his confiscation order, took secrets to the grave. Kenny Collins released, free, still owes millions, won't pay, can't pay. Danny Jones serving extended time for non-payment. Carl Wood the same. The gang is broken, the money is gone, the vault is in a museum, and the drill bit that started everything just spins at construction sites. Boring through concrete, water cooling the cut, diamond teeth grinding through rebar, doing exactly what it was built to do. No questions about last weekend's job, no memory of April 2015, just the physics of hard materials meeting harder materials, and the harder material winning every time. Gang drilled through a 40 to 45 centimeter concrete vault wall over Christmas weekend. Used a 20 kilogram core drill with synthetic diamond crown. Took 2 to 4 hours. Hatton Garden template, prove the wall can be breached, time it for a holiday, bring water cooling, drill overlapping holes, squeeze through. The method works. It worked in 2015. It worked in 2024. It will work again, because concrete has a breaking point and Diamond finds it every time. A vault wall section hanging in a museum with a 45 by 25 centimeter hole drilled through it. And somewhere in the evidence chain or a rental shop, a diamond-tipped core drill bit, 14.4 kilograms, 9 gear settings, high-frequency motor, electronic speed control, water spray protection, built by Hilti, model DD 350, cost £3,500, available to anyone with cash. The crude drill bit that proved unbreakable was just marketing.